Sonny is about to get a lesson that all of us who are frequent listeners of the Joe Rogan Experience tend to get from Joe every so often, which is a good old lesson in ancient Egypt. Let's get into it. Episode 1925. I'm Coach Colin, coolest high performance coach in the world. And if you want the absolute best insights to the podcasts and videos you love, hit that subscribe button. Let's get into it.
On humanity, and it's just this, I think, is it Graham Hancock?
Yes.
I think one of the big takeaways from his message is that there's a certain arrogance to modern man, and no one could be smarter than we are right now.
Right.
And it's just simply not true.
Well, you know the whole theory behind what he's promoting. It's actually based on this thing called the younger Dryas impact theory. And this has been substantiated by science that somewhere around 11,000 plus years ago, Earth was hit by comet debris. Mm-hmm. And this is substantiated by levels of iridium that is very common in space but very rare on Earth, a sheet of it across the world at that certain time period when they do core samples of the Earth, and nanodiamonds that also indicate impacts that are all throughout Europe, the immediate melting of the polar ice caps, the ice caps rather on North America, and all the ensuing destruction that came from that, the extinction of 65% of all megafauna almost instantaneously. It's really, really fascinating stuff. But what he believes is that there was a massive natural catastrophe due to Earth getting hit. And this is all backed up by legitimate researchers and scientists and a man named Tucker Carlson, who's absolutely fantastic and really fascinating, in-depth understanding of this impact theory. And that human beings were essentially knocked back into the Stone Age.
Right. So does he think we would have gotten to the industrial age that much sooner if that wouldn't have happened?
They don't know what they were doing back then. That's what's interesting, because like everything was wiped out to the point where all we have left is these immense stone structures, which we have no understanding of the construction methods at all to this day.
Right.
There's some half-assed theories of how they did it, and no one really knows. There's 2,300,000 stones in the Great Pyramid of Giza, and some of them, again, were cut from a quarry that was 500 miles away, and they don't know how the fuck they did that.
It'll be interesting if you get the right guide, and I can recommend a guy. There's one guy I really liked later on. But everyone's going to have an answer for you. And it's interesting.
They don't know, though. The thing is, like, I've heard all the answers.
Oh, sure.
I've heard everything. I've been reading about this for years and years and years. They really don't know. And that's what's amazing about it. What's amazing is you have evidence that human beings who lived in Egypt thousands and thousands of years ago did things that we really can't do today. We really don't have the equipment. We really don't have the understanding. I mean, if you're off by a little bit with each individual stone, by the time you get to the top, it doesn't meet upright.
Right.
And they just nailed it. They nailed it to the point where they have these immense stones. You can't even get a razor blade in between them. I mean, incredible construction. Back when people had just come out of hunter and gathering. I mean, it was like 5,000 plus years ago they were doing this. Like, how?
Right.
How long did it take? Who was in charge? How'd you figure it out? They don't know. They really don't know. And then due to the burning of the Library of Alexandria, there's like so much missing information in history.
Yeah, that's what... maybe it'll seem unrelated, but this idea like, oh, if we ever meet aliens or see alien technology, will we be able to figure it out or understand it? It's like there's so much we don't understand about what's already here right now.
Yeah. I think human beings used to have a very, very advanced civilization. I think we, we, humans that were living in Africa 5,000 plus years ago, 10,000 years ago, whatever it was, they had an incredibly advanced civilization. And that they, you know, if you think of how long modern anatomical human beings existed, they used to think we went back like 50,000 years, and then they pushed that to like 150, and now some believe it's 300,000, even more. That's people that look essentially like you and I. If you gave those people time, if you look at like go back from the Romans, go back 2,000 years ago to today, what an insane amount of progress has taken place in 2,000 years. In 2,000 years, they've gone from slaughtering people with swords and bows and arrows and catapults to making incredible videos like you made with a fucking iPhone. A
Right.
little tiny thing that slides into your pocket easily. You could travel around the world in metal tubes that fly through the air. You can send video from your phone all the way to United States within seconds. I mean, it's amazing just in 2,000 years.
Right.
So if these anatomical human beings existed 200,000 years ago and they had enough time and enough agriculture and enough food and resources to develop incredibly complex, really advanced technology that's dissimilar from the advanced technology that we have today. We like to think of advanced technology as only involving internal combustion engines and silicon chips, but what if they developed something on a totally different path, just developed it to this level that we can't possibly comprehend? What if they had 10, 20,000 years to do that? That's likely what we're looking at when we look at the structures in Egypt. We're likely looking at what at one point in time, look, we know all human beings came from Africa. That's the birthplace of humanity itself. And then the most complex structures that have ever been created also are in Africa. So if you would imagine that those people had been given enough time, whether it's 20,000, 30,000 years, to evolve these technologies, and then boom, hit by giant rocks from the sky and millions of people are killed. The people that are left live a barbaric existence for thousands of years and then relearn civilization and it starts from scratch. That's what Graham Hancock is talking about.
Yeah.
That's what Randall Carlson is talking about. That's what John Anthony West was talking about while he was alive, who has an amazing series called Magical Egypt. It's a multi-part DVD series that details like the incredible complexities of the structures and how they related to the cosmos and magic stuff. Just amazing, amazing stuff. That's what I think probably happened. Obviously, I'm not an expert, but what I'm talking to these people, that makes the most sense when you look at the immense amount of data that points to this Younger Dryas impact theory. And it's not like some loony theory. It's a theory that's embraced by cosmologists, and they know exactly the meteor storm that the comet storm that we pass through every November, and I believe it's every June as well. And that, you could see the meteor showers in the sky. Well, occasionally you go through a bad spot and you run into like some serious chunks of debris, and those slam into the earth, whether it's every 10,000 years, every 20,000 years, and it just fucks everything up and knocks whatever progress we've enacted, knocks it back to the Stone Age.
Right.
And whatever people live are fucking barbarians for the longest time.
It's certainly not my area.
That is some old school Joe Rogan for you. This guy just got the full Nelson of fucking ancient Egypt from Joe Rogan. That's what happens. Like, Joe Rogan's like a vegan. You know how vegans are always like, hey, what's going on? Are you guys playing basketball? Well, I'm a vegan. You know how they do that? That's like Joe. You'll say, what's up to Joe? What's going on, man? So how you been? He'll be like, listen, I don't know how the roads came to be, and we have no idea what happened in Egypt. And then he just goes into the whole thing. I'm no expert, but I know that there are 2,300,000 stones in the Pyramid of Giza. How do you know that offhand? You're not an expert. What are you doing? You know too much to not be an expert. This guy could pretty much be, if he just focused on it, he'd be an expert in like 2 years. Not even. It'd be crazy. Man. But when it comes to ancient Egypt, I'm a big believer in they were way, way past what we are now. They were so far ahead of where we are now. So far ahead. They were doing things. I bet they were doing things with sound. I bet a big part of what built the pyramids was like sound, different frequencies, things of that nature. I think if we had the library, if we had the Library of Alexandria, I think if we still had that and it didn't get burnt down, aside from the fact that I think that's a lie and that they took everything out of it and that it's in the Vatican. All right, let me just fit my tinfoil hat on real quick. I think it's still in the Vatican. I think they have it. I think if we had access to that as a people, that we would be, 3,000 years ahead of where we are right now. I know that's a wild number to throw out there, but I get to throw them out because I'm the one talking. I'm throwing them out there. I just, I think we'd be so much further ahead than we are. And I think those people were, and I think Graham Hancock's right. I think something happened and it just set us back. Boom. Just set us back. You think of it like an anthill. An anthill, they just take so much time to build up an anthill. They take all this time. They make it so intricate. It's crazy. There's a queen. Everybody has their role. And then some kid is just like, I'm going to piss right on this anthill. And he does. And it's chaos. And the queen dies. And another queen has to be either found or something happens. And then they have to go to another spot and they rebuild and they start all over again. And they act like that other anthill never even existed. That's what I think human beings are doing right now. But just like Joe, I'm no expert. I'm out. Peace.